So we're going to watch this video on national debt and government spending with our favorite senator, Senator Kennedy from Louisiana.
Thank you, Senator Van Hollen. Senator Kennedy of the great state of Louisiana.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Director, welcome. Mr. Director, what's the national debt right now?
Well, it's we project at the end of this year it's going to be over $28.1 trillion.
28 trillion. What percentage of GDP is that?
It's just under 100%.
Could you speak into the mic and
Yep,
repeat that?
it's just under 100% of GDP.
Okay. And for this current fiscal year, will we have spending deficits?
Yes, sir. We're looking at about a $2 trillion deficit this year.
And that means that we've spent $2 trillion more than we took in, right?
That's right.
So we've had to borrow money.
That's right. That's right. The debt is going up.
And so that money that we borrowed increases the amount of national debt, doesn't it?
That's right. And it means more interest payments, which then goes back and means more debt. So there's a negative cycle attached to it.
Okay. So our current national debt is over 100% of our economy. It's $28 trillion. Mm-hmm. Let's suppose that we think in 10-year windows, as you know. Let's suppose nothing changes over the next 10 years. Nothing. We don't renew the tax cuts. Nothing changes. What's the debt going to be 10 years from now?
Right. So our projection is then over $50 trillion or over 122% of GDP.
Yeah. Well, damn, looks to me like we better do something. I mean, we can sit here and debate the tax cuts and you talk about the tax cuts don't work. I don't know how you know that because the pandemic skewed all economic results. But we better do something, huh? Do you think we can sustain the spending?
No, the risks are mounting with higher interest payments and higher debt. And that's, as you said, that's why action must be taken.
So what should we do?
It's, the sooner Congress acts, the easier it will be.
I get that.
It's not
so
going to be
what
easier.
should we do?
I'm here to support you, but not to
Support
tell you
me.
not to tell you what
do?
to do. I mean, reduce the deficit. You have choices. You can look at mandatory spending on the spending side as a driver. You have healthcare costs and Social Security. On the revenue side.
Well, let me stop you for a second. Yeah, everybody always says that mandatory spending is driving the cost, and they say, well, look, we've got to do something because the Social Security trust fund is going to run out, and Social Security is going to be automatically cut. Look me in the eye and tell me you really think the United States Congress is going to allow Social Security to be cut.
I would expect some action to be taken before that happens.
So if you think the United States Congress is going to sit here and allow Social Security to be cut, even if there's not a penny left in the trust fund, you've been dipping into your ketamine supply. It is not going to happen. We'll just go into the general fund and take the money, won't we?
Right, and that would add to the deficit as compared to current law.
So why do we, I get it. We make these distinctions between mandatory spending and discretionary spending, but it's really out of the same pot.
That's right. There's just one general fund of the Treasury.
Okay, so one option is to reduce our spending, correct?
That's right.
What if we cut our spending 1%? 1%. What if we turned to every single department head in the federal government and said, next year you're going to cut your spending 1%. Not 5%, not 4%, 1%. Something families who are living under Bidenomics, which is defined as paying more to live worse, something families have to do every day. What would be the impact of a 1% cut by every budget officer?
Yeah. So outlays next year are going to be just under $7 trillion. So 1% of that is $70 billion.
What we did 2%. What would
140.
be the impact?
Yep, there'd be 140 billion. And that, that's the challenge, is that the deficit is so large that, that what you're saying, makes a difference, but is pretty modest relative to the size of the challenge.
What do you think we would have to cut spending to get in control of our debt?
Yeah. So if you just wanted to stabilize the debt, make it so that the debt's at 100%,
Yes.
it goes up not by too much.
Yeah.
You'd have to cut and do it on the spending side. You're talking about $5 trillion over 10 years.
What percentage is that?
Right. So that's, over 10 years. So spending, say spending is 7 trillion, multiply that by 10, so it's about 70 trillion, a bit more.
Give me a percentage. American
Yeah,
people think in terms of percentage.
No, that's right. So say you're talking about a roughly 7 to 8% reduction in spending. Overall, just to stabilize the debt. We'd still have a high debt.
And then we
but it
could
would
try to
stabilize
grow out of it.
Yeah, positive growth would improve revenues and help the situation.
I'm way over. I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. I enjoyed talking to you, Mr. Director.
Very good. Thank you.
Thanks, Senator Kennedy. Senator Johnson.
All right, national debt is almost 100% of what the economy, like the gross domestic product, which means we are not only have 100% of what, like, think about how much you make in a year and that's your debt, right? But we're adding $2 trillion a year to it. And it's just growing. And I mean, you talk about this stuff with Doge, right? The doggy or whatever you would call it, D-O-G-E.
Do you have any Doge coins?
I might have some. I don't have many.
Let's get a few.
Sold mine.
That's yet another one that I heard about when it was like 0.00001. So I was like, oh yeah, you should get Doge.
You've been missing out. You could have been
know.
rich right now.
I could be rich. Not sitting
Then-
here talking
yeah.
to you fools.
That's why you
Down
aren't.
right now.
It is. Well, everything's down. I
Very
bet
down.
Bitcoin dropped like 10% or something, but
Did you get XRP?
No, I didn't.
I did.
Like $50
Or 10?
something.
Okay.
She said, okay.
What I think is interesting about the national debt is that, okay, like this is political, but it doesn't make sense to me why if you owed money, I wouldn't tell you to go and make like if you owed money and you had 2 jobs and you wanted to pay off that debt, I would be like, well, maybe there's another thing you can do on top of it. I wouldn't tell you, well, quit one of your jobs. And that's how I feel about it when we talk about, oh, we owe so much money, let's cut taxes.
Why should we pay off the national debt?
Because the national debt is we're Americans.
Did we decide on it?
We're Americans. We
picked
should
it?
pay off.
Has
We should be the ones
nothing
to
to
pay
do
off.
with us.
Doesn't.
We pay enough money.
Yeah, they
We pay
just
our
want to.
taxes.
They
We
just
pay our
want to
taxes.
pay. They just want to cut off the taxes for the rich.
Well, I mean, if you look at
Like,
why,
what's subtle about it is that, like, overall, everybody is paying less taxes than they originally were, like years ago. But the rich, it's like even lower than your average person.
yeah,
So your average person,
I agree.
is just paying more, and that's why they're trying to introduce all these tariffs.
I don't
make up for
I
it.
don't believe in trickle down economics. I think that if you're going to cut taxes, do it for the poorest people and go up to some amount. If I give a poor person $10,000 and I give a rich person $10,000, one of those people is going to spend it and put it back in the economy. And one of those people is going to save it and get wealthier, right? In my opinion, if you want to grow the economy then and help people at the same time, you don't give the tax cuts to the richest. You give them down. You give them down here.
What's wrong with cutting all taxes? If we're tariffing other countries.
I mean, if you can get away with that, if you can do it and you can support the
Other countries don't want to be tariffed.
Yeah, but you don't want to pay taxes, so who's going to lose?
we could just put a wall around the U.S. and say, you know what, we're just going to do everything in house. You don't have to pay no taxes, just whatever you make.
Countries need
And
the
even
United
in-house,
States. They're
we
not
would
going to
still
stop.
be paying high for imported goods.
Yeah,
Like
Just
that
think-
was the case with like washing machines in 2017 or something like that.
Yeah, anything we import is going to be expensive.
It's so cheap though right now.
It is.
It's like we're the leaders. Everybody comes to us. So are we gonna play like we're the leaders, or are we gonna keep getting fucked? Because we're fucking us. Simply. Like, we're the ones that are poor. If you go to other countries and they keep telling us they're poor, they're not actually poor. You can live so much cheaper in other countries. And, like, I see it all the time on TikToks.
Yeah,
You get, like,
luxury
for like $700.
$5.
So why are other countries living better than us? Like, that does not make any sense.
Their tax system, if you go to a European country, you go to the grocery store, the groceries are cheaper. You go to a restaurant and healthier, and you go to a restaurant, the food is less expensive, it's better made, it's healthier. You get a job, you pay 40 or 50% in taxes. And that tax money is being used to supplement and regulate all these other things that we're talking about we want. Like, I'm not saying that big government is good or bad. I'm just saying there's a lot of different ways to look at it, and there's opinions, right? We all think that I would think that most people don't think we should have no government. Then we'll just be a bunch of clans running around fighting other clans. Correct. You know,
why do we gotta fight anyone?
It's Peoria versus Scottsdale. They're going to war with their guns.
Such a low vibration of thinking. War, fighting.
I feel like it honestly has a lot to do with what we're ingesting.
Let's do away with all of it.
Remember when men went to war and died?
Yeah, we can send him back. Go ahead.
Bye.
All right, guys, I just got drafted. How'd this happen so quickly?
We're going to be living in a utopia.
Yeah,
No more men.
Utopia without the men.
Yeah.
They're all
See ya.
fighting.
Okay.
We are not.
What you're finding
National
from Adam and
We're
Eve,
not ruled
use
with
Dave's
two brains.
code at David A. Salty 20.
I'm not
David
salty
ain't
anymore.
salty, but he's dry now.
I am.
This fuck.
No, I'll be in Europe.
No taxes. And
No
Good
taxes.
luck with that,
No
David.
taxes and being rich. Yep.
And no men.
No men.
There we go.
Moist.
What is, okay.
Why would you say
that word, I don't know what it is.
She did that on purpose. That's fucked up. Anywho.
Okay, guys,
Anyway.
let me pull this back together. All right.
All right.
It's banking on chaos. Let us go chaotic.
Well, you have been. There's 5% of this has been banking related.
5%.
10% has been about desalination. 10% has been about no water, no moisture at all.
Moist.
11%.
It was a fight between these two.
Which is what the people
Fuck
want to
you.
see. Yeah, fuck you. Let's go.
All right. Y'all, let's cut this off. Hey, thanks for coming out.
Hey,